We also have exhibition dancing, disco dancing, and a special guest appearance by Jackie Love. So sit back while we bring you the South Pacific Dance Spectacular. Hi, I'm Peter Holland, and whether you're a dancer or, like me, just wish you could be, you're in for a great evening's entertainment. From the swirling colour and romance of the waltz, to the sensuous grace and daring costumes of the rumba. Of course, ballroom dancing could have been just made for television, and over the last few years it's had a bit of a shot in the arm. The 7,000-strong crowd crammed into the entertainment centre here are proof of that. Tonight, the very best dancers will be on the floor for the senior amateur and the professional 10 dance championships. With me is the winner of 6 state modern dance championships, Pamela Humphries. Hello, Pamela.
Hello, Peter.
There's an aura of excitement in the air tonight.
There really is.
It's all very new to me. I know nothing about ballroom dancing, but I'm looking forward to learning. One thing I'd like to ask you is the meaning of the phrase 10 dance championships.
In the 10 dance championship, Peter, the couples have to dance 2 sections. The first being the modern ballroom section, that is the waltz, the tango, the slow foxtrot, Viennese waltz, and the quick step, and the girls wear the lovely long gowns.
All brightly coloured.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
And the second section, the Latin American dances, the rumba, the samba, the paso doble, the cha-cha-cha, and the jive, and the girls wear the briefer costumes.
All the slinky,
That's right.
very sexy ones. And so those 2 sets of 5 dancers give us our 10 dance championship.
Yes.
Well, the finals will be getting underway in just a few moments, but the show began tonight with a dance spectacular. So before we join the competition itself, here's a taste of what we saw. Holiday dancers, and from a show opener in true Hollywood style to this waltz tango formation team, trained by our expert Pamela Humphries. To reach that high standard takes years, of course, and essential for success is the enthusiasm of youth. The Johnny Young Singers provide the musical setting for the youngsters from the dance studios of Perth as they present their interpretation of the Jitterbug. So it's back to the 50s. future stars of the ballroom already stealing the hearts of the audience. And who hasn't felt at least a secret desire to don tap shoes? And from the precision of tap dance to the passion of the paso doble, here's Edwina Cox and her Latin dancers. From the flamboyant style of Carmen Miranda to this breathtaking, acrobatic version of the scandalous can-can of the naughty 90s. A fantastic overture to the 1983 South Pacific Dancing Championships. And the audience here thrilled to these enthusiastic young performers. Now we turn to the competition itself. This young couple are among the favorites. Peter Roby and Jason Gilkison are both 17 years old and still at high school. Like most of the amateur competitors, they have to meet the challenge of fulfilling their normal day-to-day commitments, like homework, while fitting in the countless hours of dedicated practice needed to achieve the high standard required for competition. Jason belongs to a well-known ballroom dancing family. His uncle, David Gilkison, is tonight's Master of Ceremonies, who we'll hear introducing the competitors. The senior amateurs represent their country or state. And earlier this evening, I asked Peter and Jason how the representatives were chosen.
Oh, well, each state has a various competition held in their own state between their couples there, and the winner of that competition goes on to the South Pacific Championships to represent.
Peter, have you found the competition here at the Entertainment Centre very difficult?
Well, so far, yes. It's all hard competition.
Any surprises?
Yes, actually, the competitors from the other countries, it just involves mainly Australian couples, but this time we've had representatives from Indonesia and Japan.
Singapore,
Yes.
That's right, as well as New Zealand. We're having a very busy championship.
Yep.
Anyway, best wishes for the two of you. Nice to see you here doing so well.
Thank you.
And now let's meet all the competitors in the Senior Amateur Modern Final, the first half of this 10-dance championship.
From New South Wales, Clive Phillips and Karen Phillips. From Queensland, John Geckums and Carol Harris. From Victoria, Lawrence McDonald and Redmilla Margin. From South Australia, Red English and Leanne Bampton. From Singapore, Sean Tai and Gladys Koch. From New Zealand, David Yates, I beg your pardon, and Sherry Blank. From Indonesia, Rajmat Wijaja and Nana Wijaja. From Western Australia, Jason Gilkison and Peter Roby. Thank you, judges. Take your positions, please. And the first dance is the Modern Waltz.
Well, Pam, the first couple we see are from New Zealand, David Yates and Sherry Black. What do you know of them?
David and Sherry have been dancing for 3.5 years together, and this is the third time they have represented New Zealand in the South Pacific 10-dance event.
I love watching the waltz. I must admit I can't do it, but it looks a relatively easy dance. Is it easy?
Yes, it's an easy dance to learn for social dancers, if of course you want to get to the standard that David and Sherry are at. You have to practice quite a lot.
And what do you think of their style? Are they dancing well?
They are. They have lovely free-flowing movement. They're dancing as one. Beautiful top line.
What does that mean, top line?
Well, as you can see, the couples have a wide space between their heads, and we like them to try to maintain that width at all times. The man has a very square shoulder line.
Oops. Now does that happen very often where dancers collide?
Couples should try to avoid each other, and this can be a real test of their floorcraft and technique.
Floorcraft, that's part of dancing, is it?
That certainly is.
Here's the Indonesian couple. They don't look quite as happy as the New Zealand couple.
They are dancing well, but they do appear to have a little less experience than some of our couples.
It's Rahmat and Nanu Hidayat from Indonesia. And there's the waltz.
Your second dance, amateurs, will be a tango.
Now, from Queensland, here's John Giacomo and Carol Harris. Have you seen these two dance before, Pam?
No, I've not seen them dance before the event of this weekend, but Johnny and Carol are dancing very well. They've been together for 2.5 years. Very dedicated couple. Johnny travels up to 3 hours every time they have lessons and practice sessions. He living on the Gold Coast and Carol in Brisbane.
They must be very dedicated.
They certainly are. They hope to go to the UK to compete in international events in the near future.
Of course, England is the mecca of ballroom dancing, isn't it?
It certainly is.
The aim of every dancer to get across to England for the competitions now, I presume.
Every amateur dancer and every professional.
And yet another bad collision there. Would the dancers lose points for collisions?
If it happens too often, yes, because it would denote that they are not using their floorcraft as they should.
Now, from New South Wales, here's Clive and Karen Phillips.
Clive and Karen are a brother and sister team. They've been dancing together only a little while, but have had many successes individually with other partners. They're dancing a very strong tango.
A very handsome couple. She's wearing the most beautiful gown.
They dominate the floor. They're such a tall couple.
The tango itself confuses me. It's quite a slow dance, isn't it?
Well, not today's tango, as opposed to the Rudolph Valentino tango of yesteryear. Modern tango is quite a bit faster.
The head turns confuse me. They always, or almost seem to be avoiding looking in each other's eyes.
Well, actually, the head turns are a body tick from the man that opens the girl from a closed position into a promenade position or into a different line for a certain picture step.
Almost cues to a new movement.
That's right.
Next, the lovely Viennese waltz.
Now we're looking at a young couple from Victoria, Lawrence MacDonald and Radmila Marjan, who I met earlier on this evening. They're an extremely young couple. They must be the youngest on the floor in the senior amateur section.
One of the youngest couples in this event. This is the second year they're representing Victoria. Dancing a lovely Viennese waltz, what we call a fleck crawl, natural fleck crawl, into a natural turn.
By the way, in the background we see the judges, each with a notepad, concentrating on the dancers. Pam, do each of the judges just concentrate on one dancer, or do they look at them all? How's this done?
No, they must mark all couples in order of preference. Peter, that's first to last.
Preferential voting, perhaps. And the Viennese waltz. There's Will Upson and the big band providing excellent
Just
music
two more
for
to
the
go,
championships.
competitors. Next one being the foxtrot.
Now this couple go in a beautiful pink dress. They're from South Australia. Red English and Leanne Bampton.
They've been dancing 2 years together, and it's their second year representing South Australia. Leanne's mother coaches their modern style of ballroom dancing, and Mum and Dad were Australian champions in the 1960s.
Well, I must admit it's one thing I've noticed. The ballroom dancing tends to be very much a family activity. For instance, several members of your family have been involved in these championships.
Yes, my two daughters have been dancing. Oh, there we've got a lost shoe.
Oh. Now, is that a rare occurrence, or does that often happen?
It should not happen, Peter, and if the girls lose a shoe, they should stop to pick it up.
I can't see
Otherwise,
who it is.
it becomes quite a danger to the other couples. They can trip and hurt an ankle.
There.
It's the Indonesian couple. You will notice that most of the girls have taped their shoes on.
Well, I must admit I hadn't noticed. What sort of tape do they use?
Just ordinary sticky tape.
Well, it obviously presents quite a danger to the dancers to have the shoe lying on the floor there. Oh, there are our friends who we met earlier, Jason Gilkerson and Peter Roby from Western Australia. Peter looking beautiful in that gown. We'll see more of them in a moment when we turn to the last dance in the modern section, the quick step. Oh, there's Nanu Hedayat going over to retrieve her shoe now. What a shame, what a disappointment for her.
And the final dance, a quick step.
I see Jason warming up there. Although it looks very graceful and easy, it's very energetic, isn't it?
It is, Peter.
How long have these two been dancing together?
I understand about 9 years, and they've had many successes on the national dance scene. Recently, they were in England for the British Open to the World Youth Championship, and and they came in fourth. I understand they're going back next year to compete and they hope to win the event.
Well, they really look as though they're enjoying their dancing. Dancing together for 9 years. Now, I know they're 17, so since they were 8 years old, just little kids, really, they've been together.
A lot of our youngsters today start when they're 6 or 7.
I must go and growl at my mum for not taking me to dancing lessons. I love Peter's gown, that lemon and white.
Jason's a very, very talented young man. He designs all of Peter's dresses.
He designs them.
He designs them, and then he supervises Peter's mum in the sewing of them, and his own mum in the decoration, sequins and drops and beading. He has them working day and night to have them ready for championships. I think we could call Jason and Peter's Quickstep, Trickstep.
It's very skillful, isn't it? And what a talented young man he must be. There are our friends from New Zealand again. And a nice finish to the modern section.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen, the official representatives for the South Pacific Amateur Modern Championship. Thank you, couples and judges.
That time we talked to a judge, I think, and Mrs. Olive Cullip is one of our international judges, all the way from the west coast of the United States.
Yes.
Listen, I've been fascinated watching the competition as it's developed. I just can't imagine how you judges manage to cope. You've got a dozen or so couples on the floor, a row of you standing around watching. How do you set about judging?
Well, I think the first thing most of us do is to look at the general picture and see what they're presenting to us and how their tops look. If their tops are good, their feet must be good. And then we switch to the technique and all the technical things that we have to judge.
And it's the technique that leads you to look at the feet, mainly.
Oh, yes. But if they haven't got the correct technique, they don't have a correct top.
Are the judging techniques and standards pretty well applicable worldwide now?
In international style, yes.
Well, this brings me to a bit of your history. I'd heard that you're something of a pioneer on the west coast of the United States for the international style of dancing.
Yes, my husband and I were among the first to arrive there. And we had quite a hard time convincing them that our style was as good as theirs, or maybe better.
What were they dancing beforehand?
They had their own smooth dancing, and they produced wonderful dances. But we convinced them that with our technique and our footwork and the things that we have all learnt during the years was better for their dancing too. And they have accepted it.
It's taken off?
Yes, yes it has.
Has it in fact started to replace their more traditional smooth dances?
They still keep to their own American dances, and we have all taken examinations in their styles, and so we are able to judge their dancing too.
And are you finding the standard here in the South Pacific Championships up to the mark? Is it what you'd expect?
Oh, I think it's far beyond anything I thought it would be.
Oh,
it's very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, for the Latin section of the Senior Amateur 10 Dance Final. Let's meet the competitors one at a time in this section. First from Queensland, John Giacomo and Carol Harris. The Victorian couple, Lawrence MacDonald and Radmilla Martin. From South Australia, Red English and Leanne Bampton. The Zealand couple, David Yates and Sherry Black. And now the Indonesians, Rahmat and Nanu Hidayat. And a couple we haven't seen before from Singapore, Sean Tay and Gladys Cock. And our New South Wales brother-sister team, Clive and Karen Phillips. Western Australia represented by Jason Gilkison and Peter Roby.
And there you are, ladies and gentlemen, the finalists for the South Pacific Amateur Latin American Championship. All we need now is some judges. Would you please take the floor, please? Judges, your first dance couples is a samba.
Eight couples representing the Australian states, plus New Zealand, Indonesia, and on this occasion, Singapore. Well, Pam, we're into the Latin final this time, and the first dance, the samba.
And we have David and Cherie, very young and enthusiastic couple who obviously enjoy this sparkling samba rhythm.
Costume change is one that I enjoy. Mentioned earlier, the
I think they
slinky
get
costume.
reefer every year. The couples go to a lot of trouble to make sure that their costumes match the lady with the man. And they put a lot of thought into the design of this duo.
Someone was telling me that all of those sequins have to be hand sewn onto the costumes. It must be a very time-consuming business.
They do, Peter, and the rhinestones are glued on with a special type of glue.
Here are our friends from Singapore. We'll see more of them in just a moment when we get into the rumba.
The next dance in this all-important championship, a rumba.
Now, Sean Tay and Gladys Cock haven't entered for the full 10-dance competition, they're only in the Latin section and not the modern. Why do you think, Pam?
Well, they've only been learning to dance for 18 months, Peter, so I would think they've decided to concentrate on one style. Ballroom dancing in Singapore is relatively new. That is at the international competition level in any event, and I should think with a little more experience they'll be competing the two styles.
Well, watching them now, how do you feel they're handling the level of competition here?
Oh, very well. The rumba is the dance of love, and they have got a lot of togetherness there. They're very involved with each other, and they're characterising it well. And the rumba originates from Cuba.
It's very graceful and fluid sort of dance, isn't it? The movements flow very attractively from one to the other.
Yes, it's going very well for them at the moment.
Here are the Queenslanders again, John Giacomo and Carol Harris, a couple that have to drive so many miles to practice together.
They've got good, strong basic work, creating lovely hip action there for the lady. Costumes match very, very well.
With a dance that is as slow as the rumba, control must be very hard to maintain.
Poise and balance are very difficult to maintain, Peter. This couple are doing very well at the moment. They're relating well to one another. Their control is very good. Now, this figure we call a horse and cart, Peter.
What a horse and cart. I can see why.
It's very difficult for a couple to maintain control at all times, however they have tried to.
Well, I noticed there was a rather awkward end to their rumba. Well, they are the first 7 dancers of the 10, 3 to go.
The dramatics of the Paso Doble.
Now, the Paso Doble. This is the Spanish dance, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. The man is the matador, and the lady, most of the time, is his cape. But on odd occasions, she becomes the bull.
Well, let's watch and see if we can pick when she's the bull and when she's the cape. Oh, she's the cape right now. We're looking at the New South Wales brother and sister combination of Clive and Karen Phillip.
They have stunning presentations. The hair, the dress, the catsuit for the fella in bright pink. I have heard a whisper, you know, that he hid from his teacher before he took the floor, just in case she didn't approve.
of the brightly coloured costume.
Yes.
Here's the young Rudmiller Margin and Lawrence McDonald from Victoria.
They have very clever choreography, this couple.
Do they have worked that out themselves, or do you think they would have it done for them by a choreographer?
No, they do have a coach, probably in Victoria. Often the couples have lessons from other coaches when they're visiting.
Well, it looks as if Lawrence the Matador has vanquished his bull. And that sees the end of the Paso Doble.
Your next dance, the Cha-Cha-Cha.
Well, as the couples are moving around, getting themselves... but they like to get themselves into a good position to start these dances, don't they?
They like to make the best impression they possibly can on the judges, so I think they would size up what part of the floor they can best take their start from.
Well, this is something to remember while watching these dances, is the dancers are really dancing to all 4 sides of the dance floor, aren't they? They're not just dancing toward the front.
Yes, they don't work to any one front because we have the judges all around the outside edge of the floor.
At the moment, we're watching the South Australian couple, Rhett English and Leanne Bampton.
They're a very striking couple. They've got lots of movement, and I'm sure they'll impress the judges.
She doesn't get dizzy. Do dancers have problems with dizziness from spins and multiple turns?
No, they're a little bit like the ballerinas. They have to spot to a certain point if they're going into a lot of fast spins.
Yes, could you explain that a little more? They look at one particular point, don't they?
Point, and then their head comes very quickly back to that point as they go into their turns.
Well, when we finish this, I'm going to go outside and try it and see if I get dizzy or not. Well, it's Jason and Peter from Western Australia.
They're doing a lot of modern trend cha-cha-cha there in their solo work. Very strong finish to their cha-cha-cha. This is the Latin American dance that most people want to learn first. The social dance looking a little bit different to the competition style.
For the final dance, a jive.
The jive. Now, this is the dance I'm always surprised to find included in the Latin American section. It doesn't seem to be a Latin dance to me.
I don't know. I don't think the girls could manage to do jive in a big net frock or even the Ginger Rogers style, Peter.
Oh, in the ball gowns? No, I suppose if you're going to jive, you're better off in something like these costumes. Well, let's have a look at the Indonesian couple, Rahmat and Nanu Hidayat.
I think they're lacking in competitive experience, and this girl seems a little bit worried. I think the zip's broken on her dress.
Oh, yes. Must admit I hadn't noticed that.
In Indonesia, they don't have junior dancers. They don't commence to dance at the early age our couples do here. So they have a much later start in life with their dancing. Very enthusiastic people, though.
And it's important, isn't it, to join in the competition and to get the experience that way.
We're very happy to have them visiting.
Well, now let's wrap up this Latin final of the senior amateurs by having a quick look at all the 8 couples involved. I guess by now you at home have got your favourites. It won't be long before we'll find out who the winner is. Well, that's it for the amateurs. And while you tabulate your votes at home, the judges will be doing the same here. We'll have the result in just a moment. But here are the 1983 South Pacific Exhibition Dance Champions. Exhibition dancing is a separate category in the competition, and Steve and Diane Clark won that section earlier today. And here they give us an example of their winning style. Perhaps you could tell us a little about exhibition dancing.
There's 3 sections. We have the balletic style, the jazz, and the cabaret. And I think Diane and Steve are demonstrating the cabaret style to perfection.
Well, I think I should tell the people at home, because I'm sure you wouldn't mention it, but Diane is your sister. You must be very proud watching.
Very, very proud.
Steve and Diane Clark. Well, the moment has arrived, the culmination of a year's hard work. The judges have made their decision and handed the result to David Gilkison.
The winners of the amateur 10 dance, Jason Gilkison and Peter Roby. Jason and Peter will dance a Paso Doble.
Well, Pam, what do you think of the result? You pleased?
Well, being West Australian, I'd have to be pleased. I think their style has been tremendous, their vitality, their stamina. They obviously enjoy what they're doing. Very, very exciting moment for them both.
Well, I must say, from an amateur viewpoint, I've enjoyed watching them dance tremendously, and they seem to me to have stood out as winners in every aspect of the competition. I wonder whether the viewers at home have felt the same.
Well, with their national and overseas experience, I think they well deserve to take this award. I'm sure their coach, Marita Withers, will be very, very thrilled. She recently won the Brolga Award for the best Latin American coach in Australia.
Well, let's watch them now with the honour dance, the Paso Doble. Peter Roby and Jason Gilkison, the senior amateur 10 dance champions. This is the second time the South Pacific Championships have been held in Perth. The first time was 10 years ago in 1973. This year we've seen couples from Indonesia, Singapore, New Zealand, and now in the professional section from Japan. Tetsuyo Sakurada and Miyoko Suzuki interrupted their busy schedule just long enough for some sightseeing in Perth's famous London Court, where they picked up some mementos of their visit. I asked them how they spend their very busy year as professional dancers.
3 months in the year we stay in England and training dancing and practice and dance in competition, and the other 9 months in Japan we stay and teaching about 12 hours a day every day, and only Sunday we demonstration and competition, so no time to rest.
So you just dance,
yes,
all the year round?
Yes.
But that 3 months of the year that you spend in the United Kingdom, I imagine, is very important to you. You also enter a competition, international competition there. And I gather you had some success in Hamburg
Yes.
with the World Cup. Tell me about the World Cup. How did you go?
Yes, 10 dance championships in World Cup in Hamburg. This year we got 5th place, so we are quite happy.
And the year before, I think, you were in the finals again.
Yes, every year.
And now you're here in Perth for the South Pacific Championships. And how are you finding the competition?
we would like to win.
Well, you may just do that. It's been very nice speaking to you, Pam. Welcome, anyway.
Thank you.
Well, we rejoin the competition now for the professional Latin final, the first half of their 10 dance competition. All the competitors have taken the floor, and their first dance is the samba. And now let's meet these professional competitors one at a time as they work their way through the 5 Latin dances. First, a couple from New South Wales, Gary Marr and Charm Burdekin.
Now, Gary and Charm have been dancing together for 4 years and recently opened a studio in Chatswood, Sydney. They have made the top 3 placings in every major championship in Australia recently and plan a trip to the UK next May. They're a very well-rehearsed couple and they dance very rhythmically.
Well, we're watching the professionals now, Pam. Do you expect to see a very obvious difference in ability and skill between these dancers and the amateurs we saw just a little while ago?
By virtue of the fact that they have been dancing a lot longer generally than the amateurs, we would hope that their standard would be a lot higher, but to the untrained eye, this might be a little bit difficult to pick up.
Well, see what you think at home as you watch these professionals working through the first dance, the samba.
Slowing down the pace just a little bit for you. A rumba this time.
Now, as the dancers take up the dance of love, the rumba, we're going to watch a Western Australian couple, number 269, Brett Dorney and Kim Fraser. By the way, just noting that on this occasion the professionals have numbers on their back rather than the state that they come from, because of course they're not representative of any state or country. They're individual professional competitors. Now, how about Brett and Kim, Pam?
Well, they have been dancing together for 8 months, and strangely enough, they are the West Australian state champions in the new Vogue style of dancing, which is the name we have given to old-time dancing, not seen on this program tonight. They dance a beautiful Latin style. The girl is power plus, fabulous personality, and a very striking couple.
Now let's look at couple number 281. This is Mark and Debbie Sullivan. They come from New South Wales.
Mark and Debbie have been dancing together for 7 years and were finalists in the 1981 East of England Championship, and I know they intend to return shortly to compete again. The couple are using clean lines, are very well matched even to their fingertips.
I've got a feeling, you know, that the judges are going to have a more difficult job separating these professionals than they did with the amateurs. Would you agree?
I certainly would.
Marvellous slinky costume she wears. There's the rumba.
The dance of Spain, the Paso Doble.
Now let's concentrate for the first part of the Paso Doble on couple number 271. This is another West Australian couple, Daryl and Ruth Wilcox.
Daryl and Ruth were recently married, and they've been dancing together for 3 years. They're an exciting prospect for the future and really enjoy their Latin American dances.
When a couple like Daryl and Ruth are practicing for a dance as complex as the Paso Doble with its movements strictly choreographed, how do they know that when they get out on the dance floor and the competition, that the music will be at the same tempo and speed?
Tempo of all dance music competition is laid down by the Australian Dancing Board of Control, so the couples may practice in the studio and know that when they get onto the competition floor, the tempo will be correct. There's a distinct difference between this and the other Latin American dances, this one being stronger and more upright, and the man having to remain haughty at all times.
This is the bullfight one, of course, the Paso Doble.
Only a couple to go, professionals, so deep breath once again for the cha-cha-cha.
Well, now, during the cha-cha, let's look at the style, professionalism of the Japanese couple, Tetsuya Sakurada and Miyoko Suzuki.
The couple have had a lot of experience on the international competition scene and are the Japanese 10 dance champions. They're dancing a very cheeky cha-cha-cha, and they have a soft style through their Latin American dances, echoed by a soft colouring of their costuming, suiting their complexion and dark hair.
Really enjoy watching Tetsuya dance. He's very dignified.
Now, cha-cha-cha is very similar to the rumba, only it's a little faster, and there's a syncopated chassis in the basic step and the variations.
That's that side step that she just did then, is it not? The chassis or chassé?
Yes, that's right, Peter.
I was surprised to find that the Japanese are so successful in ballroom dancing.
Ballroom dancing in Japan is a very popular hobby or recreational sport, whatever you like to call it. And the Japanese couples seem to make the final 6 in every international competition or championship.
Well, this couple would have to be good contenders for the 10 dance championship here.
And your final dance is a jive.
I noticed someone just doing up his shoelaces again. Should have stuck them down with sticky tape, perhaps. Okay, let's watch Gary Marr and Charm Burdekin again from New South Wales. My favourite dance, the jive.
This dance gives the couples room for a little improvisation. Originates from the rock and roll and jitterbugging and even some jazz steps.
It looks like good fun, doesn't it, jive?
They seem to be enjoying it.
Oh, there's Brett Dorney and Kim Fraser from Western Australia.
Oh, that's naughty.
There's a couple here I've been looking for that we haven't had a chance to see yet. Ross Kramer and Linda Brown. It's another West Australian couple, 284. Our cameramen to look out for them, because this is the last dance in the Latin final. Ah, there they are. Thank you, Mr. Cameraman. Ross and Linda, what do you know of them, Pam?
They've been dancing together for 15 months. They're a slim, good-looking couple, very expressive.
There, that gives us a good view of these professional finalists in the Latin. And while the professionals catch their breath and change for the modern dance section, let's have a look at a new dance which is rapidly gaining acceptance in ballroom circles. Here's some disco dancing from the winners of the Countdown Flash Dance competition, Steve and Birdie.
Please report.
Stephen Birdie with that flash dance exhibition that really pleased the young people in the audience and gave the traditional ballroom enthusiasts something to think about.
The final event on the program for you, the South Pacific Professional Modern Championship. May I introduce you to the couples? 264, Les and Julie Patchett. Brett Dorney and Kim Fraser. Mark and Debbie Sullivan. Ross Kramer and Linda Brown. Tetsuda Sakurada and Miyoto Suzuki. Lyndon Skeggs and Michelle Hawke. All competitors onto the floor, please. Judges, thank you. If you would take your positions for this, the final of the night, the South Pacific Professional Modern Championship. Your first dance, a waltz.
Couple number 284 from Western Australia, Ross Kramer and Linda Brown. Let's watch them for a while. Isn't that a beautiful gown that Linda's wearing?
Linda is a very clever young lady. She makes all her own dresses and they're truly beautiful.
That one looks absolutely stunning.
They're a very dedicated couple, dancing with lots of control. Same leg lunge, interchange, reverse movements.
Oh, there's a nasty fall. That, I think, was 281, Mark and Debbie Sullivan from New South Wales. But my goodness, they've recovered quickly. He must have been back up onto his feet like a jack-in-the-box.
They
Let's
don't
stay
seem
with-
very worried at all.
That must be terribly upsetting to fall, particularly in a final like this. There, in the wars a little bit, there was just a slight collision there as well. This is very important, isn't it, in what you described as floorcraft. Now look, they nearly bumped into the Japanese couple then.
He led her strongly out of the way, though. Couples have to dance in an anti-clockwise direction around the floor, and if they come back against what we call their line of dance, they often get into trouble.
Couple 297, the Japanese couple dancing beautifully. I think, in fact, they're apologizing, yes, and making friends after that slight collision. A nice spirit of sportsmanship on the dance floor. Now for the tango. Now let's stay with the Japanese couple for a while. They're so impressive to watch. What a beautiful gown Miyoko is wearing.
It's truly a Ginger Rogers style gown. A lot of the girls are choosing to wear this style as opposed to the full net dresses that have been worn in the past years.
The head movements are tremendously precise. They're quite remarkable.
It requires a lot of practice to get that precision. Good rhythmical interpretation of the tango music is precision.
I notice also that whilst dancing the tango, the smiles that are seen on the faces of the dancers with most of the other dancers are completely missing. It's a very serious and concentrated affair, the tango, isn't it? There's couple number 264, Les and Julie Patchett of Western Australia.
Now, the Patchetts have recently returned from overseas. Originally from Victoria, they have been in London studying 7 years and competing. They have now settled in Western Australia and hope to make their home here. They've had many successes on the international dance scene and recently were finalists in the British Open to the World Rising Star Championship. They have been professional teachers for quite some time.
Must be a big step to take to turn from amateur to professional dancing.
It's something that the couples give a great deal of consideration to, because once they turn professional, they are not easily able to revert to amateur status.
Now leaving the tango.
And now the beautiful Viennese waltz.
And we can hear the audience in the background cheering on their favourites. We haven't really spoken much about the Viennese waltz during the evening, Pamela. Could you briefly explain to me the difference between the Viennese waltz and the modern waltz?
In the Viennese waltz, Peter, we have a certain number of figures allowed to be danced. That is, a natural turn, a change step, a reverse turn, reverse and natural flexural, and a contra check. And that's about all. So the couples arrange those figures in any order that they choose. I like to see the turns phrased to the music. However, not all adjudicators feel the same.
We're following at the moment couple number 269, Brett Dorney and Kim Fraser from Western Australia.
They're dancing a natural turn and very beautifully too.
I notice Kim's wearing the traditional ball gown.
Right, professionals, you're nearly home. 2 dances to go. And this one being the slow foxtrot.
Couple number 326 right in front of us, Lyndon Skeggs and Michelle Hawke. This is the first time we've been able to concentrate on their dancing. They weren't entrants in the Latin final.
Yes, they planned to go to the UK in 1980 beautiful shade of pink.
I wonder if those colours are chosen to attract the eye of the judge.
I think it's more preference, the individual person for a colour rather than for that reason.
Just following Ross and Linda again, couple number 284.
Now, Ross and Linda have had a very busy championship. They've danced the 4 styles, Latin American and modern ballroom, for the 10 dance event, and also the new Vogue style and the exhibition event. They've done very well throughout the weekend.
Interesting to compare the styles of those 2 couples dancing close to each other then. Just 1 dance left to go in this final.
Now, folks, you've been relatively quiet all night. Your last chance to put in a word for your favourite couple. Let's hear it for the final dance, a quick step.
Well, this is it, Pam, the make it or break it dance, and there's tension in the air here at the Entertainment Centre.
I think all the couples are very, very, very keyed up at this moment.
Have a brief look at couple number 284, Ross and Linda, and now the Japanese couple, Tetsuyo and Miyoko. Oh, and look at the way they're gliding down the hall. I think you called it a trick step, didn't you, earlier?
Yes, I think they're doing it very well.
Absolute pleasure to watch, and that beautiful gown she's wearing. That's something I meant to ask you about. Some of the girls choose to wear those fluffy ones. We just saw the pink and yellow one go past, the more traditional gown. I've often wondered whether they'd be rather uncomfortable when you're dancing close together.
Well, the net gowns have a lot of fabric in the back part of the dress, but not quite so much in the front, so it's quite
I'm
easy.
glad to hear it. Yeah,
quite easy
worried.
to get close to your partner.
And here's another beautiful gown that Linda Brown of Western Australia is wearing, dancing with Ross Kramer. And Les and Julie Patchett. Now, Les and Julie, along with Lyndon Skeggs and Michelle Hawke, are entrants only in this modern final. They're not competitors in the 10 Dance Championship because they didn't dance in the Latin section. Well, it's nail-biting time again. I certainly wouldn't like to have to pick a winner. But while the judges go about their unenviable task, here's a song from our special guest artist, just returned to her hometown from overseas. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Jackie Love.
Show me some
round. And now the result we've all been waiting for. Who will be the 1983 South Pacific Professional 10-Dance Champions?
The winners, couple number 297, Tetsuda Sakurada and Miyoto Suzuki from Japan.
Well, that's fantastic. The couple that have stood out so strongly all during the night, dancing with wonderful dignity and skill.
I'm thrilled for them, Peter. They're such a charming couple, and they've had the audience with them the whole way through. I'm sure this couple will go on to bigger and better things.
And as we watch them perform their victory waltz, I must say, Pamela, that this has been a most exciting and enjoyable evening's entertainment. We've seen some wonderful dancing, particularly from this couple, and also from Jason Gilkison and Peter Roby, who won the senior amateur section. Pamela, thanks very much for being such a charming, knowledgeable, and gracious specialist on the program with us tonight.
Peter, I've really enjoyed myself. Thank you very much.
And we hope you've enjoyed the program at home as much as we've enjoyed it here. Next year, the South Pacific Ballroom Dancing Championships will be held in Auckland, New Zealand. So for now, as we watch the Victory Waltz performed by Tetsuya Sakurada and Miyoko Suzuki, the 1983 South Pacific Professional Ballroom Dancing Champions, we wish you good night.